everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, what do we have in store for you on today's show? I'll be speaking to Dr Penelope Johnson, who's a natural psychologist, who'll be talking about how spending time with horses in particular can improve personal insight and growth. I'll also be speaking to Taya James from Celtic Camping in Wales. And also we have the self-development clinic later on with Chris Browne. Of course, we have the fitness tip like we do on every show with Jane Rafter. And I'll also be revisiting a lovely place that I went to where I got to feed some tigers. But first of all, let's have a word with the dynamic duo, as I call them all the time, Helena Shard and Ian Pelham-Turner. Hello.
Hello. Chrissy.
Now, as you know, viewers, they're always here with the celebrity and royal news. And quirky news too.
Yeah.
And it's always very interesting.
Thank you.
We try to make it.
Well, we're going to start off with royal news.
Oh, royal news. Oh, good.
With the Duke and Duchess are still in New Zealand having loads and loads of fun. And Prince George
It's like they've moved there.
They have. They'll be back soon. But it's
really
fun. It's fun,
they're
like,
getting
covering. Yeah, too comfortable, I think.
Yeah.
They're having a great time. They're doing so many things, and Prince William let a few things slip, so everyone was thinking that maybe they were about to have another prince, a little prince on the way. But, so we were led to believe, but I think slowly things were coming out because Kate was doing lots of things, from having a few sips of wine in a vineyard,
Do you know,
taking a little topple.
We disagree on this one because you don't think she's pregnant. I think she is.
Really?
I honestly think she is.
Would she be sipping wine though if she was
pregnant?
Well,
no, I think that the reality is at the moment that I think it's too early to announce it, and I think he's made a slip as a joke. I think she is pregnant.
Oh, God, I don't think so.
I can see that happening again. I really can.
I think they were on a speedboat, really one of those fun ones, topsy-turvy, and they have to announce if someone's pregnant not to go on it. So I don't think she would have risked anything.
We shall see.
Shall we see how the story unfolds?
Yeah,
I pregnant.
Male intuition.
Yeah. I think probably very soon. So obviously it's in the planning. But it was all down to a little crochet scarf, and Prince William said to the lady, "Well, you may have to be making another one of those." So that's what all that was about.
Maybe she's planning on getting pregnant in New Zealand.
Yes, that's what I think. I do think that.
And you wonder what they're going to call the baby? Maybe Pom or something. There's all this sort of great history now, isn't it, behind where a baby is conceived, is like Brooklyn and so forth. So it could be Pom or
Yuzi. Like no, it'd be traditional. But meantime, Prince George is with the nanny at the minute, and we're not seeing that much of him.
Oh,
but I think
Kate
did mention that he'd probably need his own flight back with the amount of presents that he's been given.
Oh, gosh.
Just ladens of them. So that's quite fun.
Not like he hasn't got everything he needs anyway.
I know. Can you imagine the amount of clothes and everything? But
they can donate them to children's charity or something.
Well, they do. I mean, they have these rooms in Buckingham Palace that are actually full of presents, that they've been given over a period of time. And I think I remember a story a while back where, for some reason, Harry on a trip was given some rhino horn. So why that was done, I don't know. And they would get some sort of quite unusual presents as well, to sort of say the least. So you just never, on these trips, on these trips, they never know as well either. And that's probably one of the exciting bits of they never know what they're going to get from site to site. And flowers, they must get festooned.
Oh gosh, yeah.
With the amount of flowers that they get on these trips as well. I always feel sorry for the ladies in waiting, especially when the Queen and Diana used to be around.
Oh yeah, they used to get so many.
And she would get so many bundles of flowers.
I think it's lovely. I think everyone loves flowers, even if you're receiving them on behalf of someone else. It's always lovely to sniff them.
I'm sure you get to keep them as well.
Yeah. So, carrying on, Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney, unfortunately, has died.
He's died, but he's to be celebrated because he was 93. Which is a great age.
Gosh, yeah.
And he was a childhood star, so he started sort of as a tot, really. And has been in over 200 movies. 200? Yeah, wow. And he was actually married he had 8 wives, but one of his wives was Ava Gardner, who obviously was really famous. But quite sad that he's gone. He was just about to be in A Night at the Museum with Ben Stiller. I think, is it 3?
Oh, it's the third one. Yeah, I love that film.
Which is great.
Takes me back to that film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching him on recently, and obviously his legs are gone, so he found it very hard to walk. But he had this famous quote that he always used to get married in the mornings. So if it didn't work, he could always do something at night. And that was his famous quote about marriage. But and there's all sorts of things happening at the moment. I mean, the Kardashians are back in the news again.
Oh, as always.
As always.
Kim Kardashian and her tips of how she's keeping her physique in shape before the marriage, and she's supposedly wearing a corset now to bed.
Oh God, how uncomfortable!
Yeah, how uncomfortable. I mean, she's very shapely. I don't know why she'd need a corset.
No. Oh, that must be so like uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
How can you sleep and breathe?
I know, but they're going to be getting married very soon. But it's I think huge. I think it's just outside Paris in a castle.
Oh,
I heard they were having a low-key event, but I don't know how you can have a
I
low-key
don't
event
think
in a castle.
Come on.
It's something like 75,000 per head.
Oh gosh.
And the invite was something like £600, I think, an invite or something. But no, they're everywhere, aren't they? Just to think that she was a reality star, or she's a reality star, and now is huge.
Huge.
It's really quite amazing.
And we're very shortly we're going to be visiting the Athenaeum Hotel.
We are.
And the Kardashians.
We are.
Oh, they were filming there, weren't
they? The Kardashians had the whole of the top floor of the Athenaeum Hotel.
Well, that's just been over the top, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
if you can afford it, why not, I suppose?
Well, they had more bodyguards than me. You know, we were all shuffling.
Is that going to have more than that possible?
I know. And then there's a wonderful story about Keira Knightley at the moment. Quite a funny story about that is that she has this tradition. And the tradition is after she finishes every movie, she goes home and she has her nails done a very bright, vivid colour. And it's a tradition. And the reason why she does it, that during the movie, you're looking at me disproving.
I'm wondering why.
This is true.
I'm waiting for the explanation.
This is true. And the reality is that during movies, she's never allowed to change anything, you know, because she does a lot of these historical movies, period movies, and so on.
She has her perfect manicure,
so she can never have anything. So as soon as she finishes a movie,
her wild side comes out.
Her wild side comes out, and she has these sort of colourful nails done.
But she did say that she wasn't going to do them yellow like she did last time.
Yeah.
What colour is she going to do them?
Because they look nicotine stained. Can you imagine how was that? That's horrible.
Looked like she was a heavy smoker.
Something completely mad.
Probably blue or green or something.
Samantha Bond?
Yeah, Samantha Bond.
Samantha Bond.
Most known as Bond Girl with Pierce Brosnan, I think. So she's moving on. Do you want to speak about Samantha Bond? That was your story.
It's my story.
It is.
It's my story.
You tell us. I would tell you,
Chrissy. I would tell you.
It.
You're like me changing everything around on the show. Never mind.
See the fear in my eyes, Chrissy. The Samantha Bond story is that now she's working probably 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day for the next 6 months, because she's in the next series of Downton Abbey, we can exclusively reveal on the Chrissy B Show. So she's working on Downton Abbey during the day, and then she's been driven straight back to the theatre, and she's doing, I think, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, if I remember rightly. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels at night. And she's doing that 6 days a week.
Oh my
goodness.
Amazing.
She's always wanted to be Ginger Rogers. She's always wanted to be on stage. So for her, that's amazing to be in that.
That's really good, but can you really keep up all those hours?
I think it is
with the excitement, the adrenaline.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, I suppose she's got one day off.
Absolutely.
She can just crash out the whole day.
Right. Yeah. So also a funny little one, which I thought was really fun, Sam Bailey, who's the X Factor winner, who's done incredibly well.
She has, hasn't she?
She's done well. She's got a #1 album at the moment. So she actually, I think she pipped George Michael, knocked him off the post. Right, so she's done really, really well. And she had a little meeting with Prince Charles. And she was with Philip Schofield. I think it was one of the Prince's Awards charity events. And she actually said to Philip Schofield, what can I do? I don't know what to say. How do I, do I say hello? Do I curtsy? Do I shake his hand? And she was doing really well. And Philip Schofield just said, curtsy and the usual etiquette. And she was talking, and right at the end, she suddenly said, she thought she was doing really well, and she suddenly said, "Oh, cheers, sir," and that's how she ended it, which was completely, it's so her, isn't it?
Well, at least she didn't grab him and hug him or something.
Yeah, I suppose so, but it's just,
that's more like her, isn't it?
She felt like a real plum. But I think that's her, isn't it?
That is, it's just so down to earth, though, I'm sure he doesn't mind. We've run out of time.
Have we really?
Yes, we have. Thank you so much. And we'll see you again on the next show, I take it. You were back, weren't you? Thank you very, very much. Okay, so do stay with us, because after the break we'll be talking to Dr Penelope Johnson, who'll be talking to us about how horses can help you to have a better insight into relationships and also help our general well-being. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show. Now, before we find out how horses can help us, let's take a look at this fitness tip from Jane.
Hi, I'm Jane. Welcome to our fitness top tips. Today I'm going to talk to you about the stability ball. As you can see, I'm sitting on a great big ball, and these are absolutely fantastic for improving your core strength. There's absolutely loads of things you can do. I struggled to pick 3 things to show you today, and I'm going to quickly show you. You can get these balls, by the way, online. If you just Google stability ball, you'll see that they're about 8 to 10 pounds, something like that, and you want to get a 65 centimetre ball. 55s are quite small, and pump it up and off you go. So I'm doing some sit-ups now. So what I've got to make sure of here is that I'm not giving myself any discomfort in the lower back. If you let your bum sag over the ball like that, it can pull on your lower back a bit. So just lift your pelvis up a little bit and then lift. And bear in mind, guys, when you do a sit-up on the ball, you're not only working the muscles that pull you up, you're working your deep lower tummy muscles, because you're having to work to balance. And those are your stabilizing core muscles, and you really feel it a lot more on a ball than on the floor. Bear in mind that extra vertebra behind the ball makes it more difficult. So roll down the ball to make it more easy, and roll up to make it more difficult. You'll feel that. Honestly, they're so much harder than on the floor. I'm going to show you a couple of other things. If you come over your ball like this, you can actually do a press up in this position, which is easier than on the floor. So I'll just show you. That is really easy. This would be easier still, with lots of weight behind the ball. This is a great way for beginners to start with press ups. When you get stronger, you can come forwards. Now, have a look at this. I've got to lift myself up here in the core to stop myself from collapsing. Really going to lift up, and I can do press ups here in this more difficult position. I can also do this, which is called a tuck. If you want to make it more difficult, you take the ball further away. Now this is really working everything. You can probably tell because my voice is going a bit shaky, but I'm pulling the ball in and really squeezing into the tummy, and I'm having to use my shoulders and my arms as well. This is an excellent exercise to improve your core strength and give you a six-pack. So enjoy your stability ball, have fun with it, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, Jane. So now let's talk to Dr. Penelope Johnson, who's going to talk to us today about personal insight and how horses can help. That's really interesting. Yes. Hello.
Yes, hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much.
So what is a natural psychologist? I've never heard that term before.
Well, the natural psychologist is actually the horse, really.
Oh, okay.
The horse responds to body language of non-verbal communication of other people, really, which is about 86% of our natural ways of communication.
Okay.
About 86% is non-verbal or tone of voice, and not language at all, really. So yes, the horse will respond to that, but without judgment and without any agenda, which makes it very important to. It makes it very, very good to use the horse in a sort of therapeutic or coaching environment.
So how did you yourself get into it in the first place? Because you're a psychologist.
I am, yes, yes.
Why go into the field?
This went back really quite a long time. I think I was about 3 when I first met my first horse and was really hooked. You know, nose to nose with a horse was brilliant for me, 3 years old. And
what was it that drew you? Like, what did you see about the horse?
Just the amazing, the big eyes and the big face and the fur and the lovely ears and, you know, the nice kind muzzle, and everything was wonderful. I loved the horse. So Went on to learn to ride in my teens, and then got married, and then didn't have time, had children, didn't have time to ride anymore. And then probably I came to a hiatus. You know, my marriage broke up, and I was walking through a field near my home with horses in it, and I found I was really petrified of them after all this time. Really petrified. And and I thought that was kind of a light bulb moment. I thought, I've lost confidence, and not just in this field,
in general,
but
you're feeling
generally, yes. So I thought, must do something about this. So I enlisted on courses, stress management courses and all kinds of things. And I was already just started teaching at university, but I thought there's something more needed here. So
it's great that you took action immediately,
absolutely,
that you didn't let it sort of fester and get worse.
Well, I think that's really important to do that. And then I found that I had some really hard times, I suppose, but it's a matter of gaining insight, personal insight into what's going on with yourself, and just making the effort to get over what's troubling you. So from there, I went back to horses and went to work with them in my spare time and did some volunteering.
So you faced your fear.
Yes, really that's right, and faced the fears and got to love them again and get used to them. Yeah, so I thought there's something more in this. But it's not just about, and I now have 2 horses of my own, but it's not just about, yes I do, and one I bought as a foal, the little one bought as a foal and raised it myself, which was really, I'm really proud. I think it's the best thing I've ever done, really, yes. But it's not really about the work that we do with horses, using horses with people. It's about people, really, and not the horse. The horse is fine. The horse lives in a herd and happy with us.
Just us with the problems.
That's right. And that's right. It's the people that I work with, yes. Yes, and it's sort of team that we...
So what kind of people come to you? What kind of issues do they come to you with, and how do you actually help and use horses to...
Well, most people, quite a few people are frightened of horses, or they don't know much about it, or whatever, and they have lots of, they have this confidence problem. But it's not just with horses, it's generally, it's a kind of general loss of confidence, like myself, I think, And this really helps this, because there's always something else behind that. And if you can work out what that is and how to get over those problems, how to deal with loss, and how to deal with how to overcome setbacks, and then I think you're on to a better pathway, really.
So how do you actually use the horses in the sessions that you have with people?
Generally, we work with about 3 horses at a time, and they're loose. They're not tied up or anything like that. They're quite loose, and then we set tasks, because this is a solution-focused way of intervening with people. So people are set a problem or a task, and it's usually to take the horses from one part of the arena through a set of obstacles to another, without communicating with each other, without touching the horse. There are certain conditions attached. So they have to work out how to do that. And
sounds like a bit of a challenge.
It's a bit of a challenge, it is, yes. But it's not the end goal that counts, it's the process. And it's the moments of insight that people have into what they do in the face of a challenge and how they manage that challenge.
And why horses in particular as opposed to another animal, would you say?
Well, I think like cats, for example, and dogs, they're domesticated. They live with us, and they're part of the family. And they do take on a representation. Sometimes they are a friend, or they take the place of a child in some cases, or whatever. But they are very much pets, whereas the horse lives in a herd. Exactly, the horse lives in a herd, always prefers other horses to humans, isn't domesticated, not really. There's always, the horse, even when it's kept and stable. No, there's always that. It'll always be wild. It's a wild animal naturally, and it's just very, what's the word? Honest. Can you use the word honest? There's that kind of honest and openness about horses. They respond to you, and they do this mirroring, which is kind of reflecting back people's own behaviour, and then through that, you know, their own emotions and thoughts and feelings. So the horse can suss all that out, and if they think you're okay, they'll stick with you, and if you're not, they'll take flight. So
yeah, that's so interesting. So when they sort of notice maybe a calm person that's maybe grounded and everything, they'll like to stay close by, but if they sense something else, they'll go. Is that what you mean?
It's not really that. It's if someone is running towards them, or if someone is stressed in some way, the horses pick it up, you know, all the time and think, what's wrong? Must be something wrong, and off they go, because they are prey animals.
Horses run away from you, then
well, they are.
Maybe we have few issues.
Yes, exactly. They are exactly. Yes,
yeah,
they are prey animals. So it's very good for learning to insight into one's behaviour, which you take with other people in relationships and into the workplace as well.
Okay, Penelope, you're going to stay with us because we're going to go to a quick break, and I'd love to chat to you a bit more because this is really interesting, and I'll also be speaking to Taya James after the break as well, on the benefits of visiting the countryside or farm and the feeling of being surrounded by nature to improve your mental health. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at my visit to the Paradise Wildlife Park. Hi everyone, I'm here at the Paradise Wildlife Park, and if you don't know already, I absolutely love animals and I love visiting places like zoos and things like that. I've been told about this place, and apparently you can get quite close and up personal with the animals, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a relaxing afternoon, walking around, looking at the different animals that they have here, and yeah, basically a great time. Hi.
Hi, did you just say relaxing?
Yeah.
That's the last thing this is going to be. I'm Aaron.
Hi Aaron, I'm Chrissy.
Nice to meet you. Well, what you're actually going to be doing, instead of relaxing and having a nice little wander around, is indeed getting very, very close.
Oh, that's good.
These are for you. We've got some overalls, we've got a broom, and we've got a shovel.
Thank you.
So Christmas come early, and what you're going to be doing is shadowing me, a keeper.
Oh, lovely.
For the afternoon.
Make me work hard then?
To start off with, but I promise you there will be some fun involved.
Okay.
But as you can imagine, first things first, we're going to do some cleaning. And I've picked out the perfect enclosure for you to clean.
Where's that then?
The camels.
Oh, stinky.
Nah, it's going to be fun.
Okay, let's go.
Follow me.
Oh, I just stepped in it.
An inspiring theme.
This is where we prepare all the fruit and veg. So for things like the primates, the small mammals, the paddock animals, etc., etc. Here's a chopping board.
I'm making a fruit salad here for the animals.
So, right, if you could just pop that back in the fridge for me. Thank you very much. After you. They're eating, as you can see, they put the heads right back.
Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, there's close to 70 different species of these guys all over Madagascar. It's the only place they come from.
Really?
But they're not a monkey and they're not an ape. They're what's known as a prosimian. They've always kept their primate traits in some ways, whereas things like apes and monkeys, they've evolved, so instead of claws, they've got nails. Whereas lemurs, they do have nails, but they've also got claws as well, things like that. He's all right, he's just a big Italian fluff ball.
This is amazing because you actually get to touch the animals and they're so close. It's an amazing experience. Trying to eat my hand.
You ready?
Yeah.
Start letting go.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Oh, so cute.
Okay, try. My granddad's passion's always been big cats, so this is what it was like years ago before the health and safety laws changed.
Wow.
With all the cats. Bear in mind, like 11-ounce steak.
There. Get
Coming out of the fist. See his tongue? Yeah.
I had such a fantastic time there. But now it's time to talk to Taya Janes. Hello, Taya. Are you there? I can see you on that screen, but the viewers will see you in just a second. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, no, we can't hear her at the moment. Earth calling Taya.
Hi, Chris.
Oh, there you are. Oh, hello. I can see you on the screen now. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'll never forget that smile. Look at that. So I visited you, it was last year now, wasn't it?
December last year.
Yeah, December last year, and we stayed at one of your, what would you call them, lodges or rooms?
We call them houses. Yeah, bunk houses.
Yeah, okay. And it was really lovely, relaxing time. Well, relaxing in one sense, but I was also doing a lot of activities. Yeah. But you were telling us when we were there last year how people come to you from London and they come very stressed. And then you kind of have to talk them into relaxing a bit and actually enjoying the environment and actually thinking about where they are.
Yes, definitely. It's quite a challenge, but it's one that we enjoy out here in Pembrokeshire.
Mm-hmm. Do you get a lot of stressed people coming to you?
Yeah, well, you know, out here it's a very open space, and compared to, you know, the big cities, when people come and they're used to tall buildings, lots of traffic lights, lots of noise, and then all of a sudden they come to the national parks, it takes them a while to readjust, really, and that's the whole point of coming to a place like Celtic Camping. So
yeah, isn't it amazing? There's amazing views there as well, which was absolutely fantastic. What do you enjoy the most about working there?
I think there's a combination of things. One, I've got a pretty awesome office, you know, being in the middle of the national park.
Office, can't you?
But
so jealous.
I'd say that I love the fact that when people come here, they get to experience space and the beauty of what I take for granted for definite, and it's a massive playground that adults and children alike can enjoy.
Yeah, it's wonderful. By the way, you owe us some marshmallows. Remember, you were supposed to come back and bring marshmallows. She disappeared. We had a log fire and everything all ready. Well, next time, you owe us then, Taya.
You'll have to come back.
Would love to visit you soon. All right, thank you so much. And please say hi to everyone there for us. Thank you.
I will, no problem. It's lovely to speak to you.
Okay. All right, so we're back with Penelope here as well. So something that we were talking about there, because she was saying that when people from London go to visit, they're still on that sort of London time, and they're on a tight schedule, and then she has to actually tell them, look, you know, relax, take everything in, because sometimes people aren't mindful of their surroundings. That's and right. It's really hard for them just to unwind. Yes, how would you help people in that situation?
Well, it is about we just saw Taylor, and also your visit to the zoo, which was, contact with animals is wonderful, and just getting out in the fresh air is great, and having long walks in the countryside and allowing yourself just to come down, you know, to a steady beat again instead of, you know, rushing madly here and there. So yes, the great outdoors is brilliant, and taking part in some outdoor sports is fantastic as well. But also, you don't need to go for long walks every day, or, you know, marathons or anything like that. It's just a question of cultivating a sense of mindfulness, I think, and being aware of the tensions in your body and what you're thinking about and what kind of thoughts are generating, you know, too many emotions and too much depth in emotion, and how to just let that go rather than push it away. Just let it go, and then usually, you know, you can calm down. So it is about breathing as well, and making sure that your breath works for you, and taking in long deep breaths. And just
so if you're feeling a bit anxious about something,
yes,
instead of just trying to maybe ignore it, but just address the issue.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes, well, don't ignore it, but it's there. So, but you know, you can just, if you take that breath, it lets it all go. So that's really important, and I make a point of doing that quite a lot. You know, when I'm feeling a little bit stressed, you know, or whatever, I know that my thoughts are running on, and I want to stop that. So
okay. Yeah. Just before we go to break, Penelope, can you tell us a little bit more about the mindfulness, about me being mindful of your surroundings in this situation, how that can actually help you?
Well, I went on a mindfulness course recently, and it's quite popular now.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot about it.
Yes, it
actually,
is. Yes, and some of the things that we did was really going for walks, but slowly, like one foot, and concentrating on that foot and that footstep and where your body is in that moment, and then the next one and the next one, and in doing that, you know, you kind of get into a different flow. And that helps.
It's like we do things without thinking, don't we? We just
yes,
do
that's
things
right. So this is
automatically,
about thinking about everything and being very aware. And if you get to be a real expert in mindfulness, which I'm not, unfortunately, but I believe that you can, when you have an intention, you are aware of the intention of doing something. If it's so insightful, and you so highly tuned into your own body and your thoughts and emotions, that you can get sort of, and slow that right down, and well, not stop it, but let it all go.
But that will calm you down automatically, wouldn't it? Okay,
Yes.
that's really interesting. But we have run out of time, I'm afraid. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise with us and telling us all about horses, because that was really interesting. Thank you so much. And after the break, I'll be speaking to self-development coach Chris Browne, and also answering a question from a viewer, so don't go away.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and I'm now with Chris Browne with the Self-Development Clinic. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
I am very well, but if you notice, I'm wearing the Chrissy B uniform, because I saw Ian had his on earlier on.
You know, no one noticed. So now
until I just said it,
People are going to be watching the show back now to check that you got the same shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So that wasn't, you didn't plan it, did you?
No, we didn't plan it. Just walked in here and there he was, in the same shirt,
well.
you know?
Okay, I'll have to get all the male guests to, and he's got his Union Jack socks on as well. But anyway, shall we answer a question from a viewer first of all, before we move to the self-development stuff? Okay, this one's from Tanya, and she says, "Hi Chrissy, I have a friend, but all she does is call me to moan about people. I have tried to tell her to ignore things, but she just goes on and on. I don't want to abandon her, but I can't take the constant complaining. What would you do, Chrissy?" Now, I think we all like to have a good moan sometimes when we're feeling a bit stressed, and we have those friends that, you know, we normally go to and just offload, and well, especially for us girls, we feel better when we've had a good chat with someone. But I would say, first of all, if you consider yourself a friend to her, because from what you've said, all you're saying to her at the moment is just to ignore it. But if I were in your shoes and this was my friend and I wanted to be a good friend to her, I would actually sit down and have a talk with her and say how negative it makes me feel. Because I've also been in this situation. I did have a friend that was always sort of talking about people, and like it was always someone else's fault, and you know, things like, I used to feel quite drained after conversations with her. But then at the time I didn't do what I should have done. I wasn't a good friend to her, and I didn't sort of sit her down and say to her, look, you know, it's very negative what you're doing and stuff. Not at that time. It was only afterwards, after a while, that I did that, and she appreciated it when I did. I cut off from her. But I wouldn't do that, Tanya, in your case. I would first of all try and sit down, have a chat with her and tell her how negative it makes you feel, and you know, everyone's got their faults, so try to see the best in people. Have a talk with her first. If that situation was to continue, however, and she keeps bad-mouthing people and, you know, it makes you feel bad, at that stage I would then distance myself from that, because I don't like to be around negativity. I like to surround myself with positive people. But as a friend, the first thing I would do is try and have a talk with her first and make her see, you know, that it's not a good thing to constantly be complaining and bad-mouthing people. I don't know about you, Chris. What would you do in this situation?
Well, in that sort of situation, I think that individual actually needs to air themselves, and they've got things to get out. We've got to look at both sides, but at the same time, you can only take so much of that at the end of the day. You said a great thing. You've got to surround yourself with positive people, otherwise it's going to drain you too. I was thinking about a situation we've actually got as well. My wife knows someone we know that just talks a lot and only talks about himself and the negative things about others. And it's come to that point where they said, well, what do we do about this? And I said, well, we've got to actually just talk about it and just be honest. Tell her exactly what she's actually doing.
Because the person's obviously got problems of their own to be that way. But I think if you offer them help and they don't want it or they don't accept it, then it's time to move on.
That is the time to move on. Yeah, at the end of the day. You know, and it's funny talking about that because what I'm going to touch on now is to do with self-esteem, and that actually connects with it as well. A lot about talking about ourselves, how we actually view ourselves, and that sort of never giving time to somebody else. There's a lot of things going on at the same time. I mean, when we talk about low self-esteem in that area, it affects many areas. It could be your relationships, just as you just mentioned there as well. And when we talk about relationships, we're talking about sometimes there's a sort of thing in a relationship where someone feels they don't deserve a good relationship. So they end up in a perpetual thing of going back into negative relationships, that sort of low self-esteem, accepting things they shouldn't really normally accept. So they just accept and say, that's the way. Or let's say your career or your life, your job, or if you're unemployed, interviews as well. Go to an interview feeling undeserving. It's the worst thing, it's most daunting that can ever happen to you. So what happens to that? Failure. Vicious circle, keeps going around. So low self-esteem has a lot of negatives that actually spins out on you. Now, what we've got to look at is how we can actually counterattack that as well. Right, and I'm going to go very briefly through this one. Now, I'd say number one is get a list. Make a list out for yourself about you. We've actually done this before in one era. Making a list of all the positive things that you actually like about you. Take time out to look at them. Think about them. Realise these are the actual good parts of you that people actually like you for at the same time.
And ask other people if you don't know yourself.
Yes, that's another thing as well.
We spoke about that once.
Yeah, we spoke about it as well. And in doing that, it reaffirms a lot of the positives. You know, and in doing that as well, we're talking about, I remember last time I was working with a group of unemployed people. It's an area that I work with each week. And a lot of them ended up in work in the space of like 3 days, a week or so after long term. Now, the only reason being is to do with self-esteem, how we actually feel ourselves. The longer it went on, the lower we felt. And we got to realise that the job isn't you. You are the actual job instead. So you've got to go in there being worthy of who you are. You're deserving of that role. So there's one for unemployed talking about low self-esteem. It's pretty heavy at that time. The longer it goes on, the worse it gets. So putting yourself back on track. Another one I've always talked about, I mention all the time, is having regular exercise. Now, I really shoot shout about this every week.
With someone?
Regular exercise. Oh, it does, doesn't it? Right, back to the same thing. Endorphins release, confidence level goes up, feel good about yourself at the same time. Sometimes it takes a bit of a push to start in the beginning. We think, oh, that's not going to really help. Oh, I can't bother to get up today. Get up. Do it.
Even if it's 5 minutes.
5 minutes makes all the difference. Just
to get yourself started and then you get into it afterwards.
Exactly, exactly. Now, another one I've got jot down here is this, self-talk. Sometimes we spend a lot of time doing negative self-talk to ourselves and talking ourselves down about what we can't do, why we can't do it and why we shouldn't do it. or viewing the world as looking at you as something that's not really worth yourself at the end of the day. So it cuts down in building relationships. It cuts down in actually being able to approach people as well and talk to somebody, or just being yourself, just being you, getting to know you. You know, so this negative self-talk has to change. You've got to, sometimes you can't actually put that idea out of your head. What you got to do is replace it with something else, and that will push the negative one out. Because the opposite is, the more you try and think about something that's not then telling it to get out of your mind, chances are you're going to think about it more. It's that sort of thing where you say, look, I'm going to tell you something, don't look over there. All you want to do is look over there, right? Yeah, so it's the same thing. What you got to do is replace it with the positives instead. Now, on top of that is the other one, big one, is forgiving. Learn to forgive you. You know, sometimes we get in a situation where it might be something way back in the past or whatever that you haven't really reconciled with, or haven't forgiven yourself, right? The person's probably forgiven, but you haven't forgiven yourself, and it keeps playing. Nobody else knows about it. The whole world doesn't know about it. It plays in your mind so much that you feel like everybody else does.
And it affects your behaviour at the end of the day, doesn't it? It affects your behaviour
totally. It hedges you in. So these, let's say 5 of them, I'd say is really important in getting over that thing of low self-esteem, you know. I just wanted to add something as well, talking about low self-esteem.
5 seconds.
5 seconds, yeah, I just want to add something, because it's still what I guess to talk about earlier on when you just mentioned about horses, and I was remembering other organisations that actually worked with that. And along the Lee Bridge Road, there's an organisation, and they take in kids with disabilities to ride horses, and the improvement and the joy that comes out of it. Now, we're talking about self-esteem here. That actually comes from that as well at the same time, and I thought it was very important to mention it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It's been a brilliant show, as usual, having you on. Thank you so much. Okay, and that's it for today. So if you do want any more information about the show and our guests tonight, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And if you'd also like to email me, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. See you again next time. Bye-bye for now. I'm so excited because today we're having a spa day, aren't we, Barbara? I'm so excited. We're at Thai Square Spa in Covent Garden, and it's tucked away. It's a lovely place. But I don't know that because we haven't actually been in there yet, have we, Barbara?
No, we haven't.
Let me do that bit again. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited because today we've come down to Thai Square Spa because we're going to have a few facial treatments and stuff, aren't we, Barbs?
And we need some rascals, sorry.
I'm so excited because today we're down in Covent Garden at Thai Square Spa. Spa Square. Square Spa.
Thai Square Spa.
Thai Square Spa.